What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Locks DFS MLB breakdown video. I am your host, Christian Hardy, at ByHardy on Twitter. You can follow me there. I am from locksdfs.com, ready to break down this June 25th MLB slate. Going to be a 15-game, big slate. Lots of options, both in pitching and hitting. As you can see, I usually pull up my FanGraphs tabs before the slate, and I've got a lot pulled up here before this one. So we're going to go ahead and start with pitching, but before we do that, I want to remind you to be sure to comment and subscribe. You'll have a chance to win a free season pass if you do that. Just leave a comment, whether it be your favorite stack, your favorite pitcher I didn't mention in the video, or maybe even a pitcher that you think you'll be pitching after my breakdown. Whatever it might be, leave a comment. We'll go through them at the end of the week, and we'll be giving out that free pass on Mondays. Be sure to check yesterday's video if you haven't yet to see if you won the free pass from us. Do that, and also be sure to leave a like. It helps us out a lot, and we like to get back to you guys, so be sure to like, comment, do all that good stuff. It really helps us out. And be sure to check us out at locksdfs.com if you have not yet. We have our full lock sheets that go through our grades, who we're playing on certain slates and why we're playing them, basically, with our grades, as well as our top stacks and our first look, which I go through statistics on the slate that I'll use to build my own lineups on this slate. So be sure to do that. And with all that said, let's go ahead and get into this slate. So I'm going to go and start with the pitching options, which I just want to go ahead and I've done this before, but I mean, this is a massive 15-game slate, and I'm obviously not going to get to all the pitching options that I think are viable. So there's three main guys I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to start with Scherzer at the top here, but I just want to scroll through and mention some guys I think are good plays I'm not going to get to in this video. So Garrett Cole, he's going to be the first guy I'm not going to mention in this video, who I think makes a really good GBP play against Pittsburgh, who should throw out a decent amount of lefties against him. He's obviously elite versus lefties. And he's going to be facing at least probably 4 of them. So he's going to be in a pretty good spot. You got Shane Bieber versus Kansas City. They've been striking out a lot, especially bottom half of the lineup. He's really expensive, so he's going to be more of a GBP shifted play. Snell's got a tough matchup, but he's going to go very under-owned, I believe. Heaney is a little bit of an interesting GBP play, but I'm not too interested in Heaney at this point. He's giving up too many hard hits. Someone else I'm not going to mention in the video who I liked last night, David Price. He just doesn't have the same amount of K upside as some of the other guys I'm going to mention in this video, but I do think he makes some sense as well. I'm going to talk about Bumgarner. I think Logan Allen. He is in a pretty bad park pitching in Baltimore, but I think we saw him get, I believe, like 90 pitches. Yeah, 90 pitches in his first start. It's a pretty good price against Baltimore for him. So I think all those guys are kind of in play. Then after that, I'm not really looking at anyone down here too much. So I'd pretty much stick above that. I would probably say that Logan Allen. I'm also going to talk about Jack Flaherty right here at 7.9K. But let's go ahead and get into Max Scherzer, who gets the best matchup on the slate against the Miami Marlins. I think I've already scrolled past it. There it is. The Marlins coming in with a 2.8 team total. Nationals minus 236 favorite. Scherzer is the most expensive pitcher on the slate, but I also think in cash games he will be the highest owned. I could be wrong on that, but I very much expect him to be the highest owned pitcher, despite Garrett Cole being on the slate. I think that because Scherzer is facing Miami, he's going to come in as the highest owned pitcher on the slate. So obviously we're looking at this Miami lineup, and we are looking at a bunch of righties. They pretty much just have JT Riddle batting lefty. They could throw in Curtis Granderson, and I don't think he's hurt or anything. Could be wrong. Yeah, so I think Curtis Granderson will probably crack this lineup as well. That said, this is still a very good lineup for Scherzer to be facing. Let's go ahead and pull up. I forgot to pull it up before. Team batting stats versus righties this season for the Marlins. just to show you guys just how bad they've been. Then we'll go into Scherzer's numbers. Marlins 77 WRC plus, 24.8% K rate versus righties this season. As you can see here, 29th in the league in WRC plus versus righties. And then we go into Scherzer, who has a 2.1 xFIP to righties. He gives up a little bit more bad contact to lefties, 4.4 xFIP with a 40% hard contact rate. But really, we're looking at a really good spot for Scherzer. I also wanted to pull up this from Add More Funds. You guys might know them from the NBA. You can with the point per minute app or on the court app. I use this pitch type app quite a bit. It's just you just donate to their Patreon and you have access to the app. I highly recommend it. I use it on most of the slates I break down. Just wanted to pull up Scherzer's numbers here because if you look at this insane swinging strike rate versus righties, 21% on the season versus righties. Again, a team that he's going to be facing is going to be, probably seven righties in the lineup if you include the pitcher. It's a really, really good spot for him. Ex-WOBA of 248 versus righties this season. Actually, I believe that's last year. But, I mean, you see, no, okay, last year 19%. This year he's coming in at 21%, or 19%. Last year he's coming in at 20. Sorry, I was going back and forth on those. So, you're getting a 20% swinging strike rate versus righties. Dude is absolutely elite versus them. I just prefer him over Garrett Cole, although Garrett Cole does make some sense if you're paying up for your SP1. Definitely going to be between those two, but I definitely think Scherzer is, I'm hedging towards Scherzer's direction. I'll be heavier overweight, or heavier on Scherzer than Cole. All right, with that said, let's go ahead and get into the second pitching option. That's going to be Madison Bumgarner coming up against these Colorado Rockies in a very friendly pitcher park in San Francisco. You see the wind here blowing out, but the park negates the wind. As you may know, if you play DFS for a while, the wind doesn't really play in this park. So we have Bumgarner at a pretty good price. Obviously, he's a guy who has definitely lost some stuff this year. He's continued to lose some stuff. But this is a very good Rockies lineup for him to face. Because not only is Ian Desmond questionable, who knows if he's going to play, but Trevor Story's out of the lineup right now. He is injured. That is a hard-hitting righty who Bumgarner really does not struggle with anyone outside of these righties. Like, if you're looking at this season, 4.49 xFIP to righties, and his K has dropped pretty significantly, 8.17 K per 9 to righties, but to lefties he's at a 10 K per 9 with a 3.13 xFIP. As you can see, he's been facing a bunch of lefties. Obviously, Blackman is pretty successful versus lefties, and Dahl isn't terrible versus them either. I believe Dahl took Pomeranz deep last night. But you've got Blackman, you have Dahl, you have Murphy, and McMahon, all lefties in this lineup. And then the righties in between are Iannetta, Rogers. Obviously, you're going to have Nolan. He's going to be the dangerous righty in the lineup. Desmond has hit lefties well this year, but not too scared of Ian Desmond, especially in this park. He's really had more success at Coors Field. So, to me, Madison Bumgarner makes a lot of sense. I mean, even looking at his numbers on this pitch type app, let's go ahead and pull that up real quick for you guys because I was looking at that earlier as well. I mean, versus lefties this year, 263 xWOBA, 16% swinging strike rate on the season. And even if you go back to past seasons, we're getting similar numbers on him. So, looking at like a 13+% swinging strike rate, but especially this season, he has been very good on the lefties, as you can see with the K rate and the swinging strike rate. Definitely really like Bumgarner at this price. I think that is a very, very, very fair price in the mid-range to pay. But of course, there is one more guy in the mid-range I want to talk about as a cheap guy, and that's going to be Jack Flaherty. And he's going to be coming up a team that strikes out a lot less than than the Giants do, than the Rockies do against lefties. We just go versus righties here, and we're looking at the A's. We're looking at a 20% swinging, 20.8% K rate and a 95 WRC plus. Whereas for the Rockies versus lefties this season, and obviously these numbers are going to include Coors, so it's kind of take that with a grain of salt. But they're even with Coors in here, 95 WRC plus and a 25% K rate versus lefties. So clearly Bumgarner has the better matchup here, especially with Trevor Story out of the lineup. That said, I still am interested in Flaherty because he is going to be facing a very righty-heavy lineup, and Flaherty is very dominant on righties, which is, again, that's why I wanted to bring it up, again, this pitch type app, because if you're looking at, wrong team, looking at Flaherty, his numbers versus righties are actually, phenomenal, and you've got some good righty hitters on this A's team. Of course, Matt Olson is the best lefty in this team, which Flaherty struggles with. We've also got Matt Chapman. He can hit righties. You've got Chris Davis. He can hit righties pretty well. So, that's a little bit of a concern with Flaherty. Don't get me wrong. But dude is absolutely dominant on righties. As I just said, 16.9% swinging strike rate this season with a 276 xWOBA. The swinging strike rate drops off versus lefties, but he definitely does still limit the hard contact and such against them. Let's go ahead and pull up his FanGraphs page where he is bringing in an 11.49 K per 9 versus righties, which is a 31% K rate, 3.07 xFIP. You see the hard contact really shoot up this season against lefties, 43% fly ball, 46% hard contact. So, guys like Matt Olson, and if Profar is, especially if he's high in the lineup, definitely a little bit of a concern, but nothing too crazy for me. I think Flaherty has a lot of K upside in this matchup still, despite the A's solid numbers versus righties even this season, but nothing. I still think as of today I am looking at Bumgarner as my cash SB2, and I think ownership will dictate that as well. But I think that both these guys make a lot of sense as your SB2, which is going to leave you, with a decent amount to work with, even though you have Scherzer. You got 3.6 per, so you're probably going to need to save at catcher and then probably spend up on some bats. And there are a ton of spots on this slate for bats. I had a tough time choosing which batting spots I wanted to break down, so I have a bunch of pitchers pulled up here. I don't know if I'll get to all of them. I don't want this video to run too long. But let's go and start at the top here. The Yankees have a 7.7 implied run total, and I'm just going to refresh and make sure that this is right, because the first time I saw that, I was like, holy cow. So yeah, they're coming in with a 7.7 team total against Clayton Richard in Yankee Stadium, minus 275 favorites. You have a bunch of righties in this lineup. There's guys, I'm probably going to be passing on LeMahieu with this price and cash games, but Judge at 4.7 is a phenomenal play. You got Giancarlo batting 5th. He's been batting 5th in the order. He's at 4.6K. Boy, he can hit lefties 4.8K. Those are the kind of the guys I'm going to be targeting right here in this 2 through 5 range. If we see Aaron Hicks bat up again, he's interesting, of course. But let's go and pull up Clayton Richard's numbers. 45% hard contact to righties, as you can see right here, with about a 30% fly ball rate. The XFIP's at 5.97. Pretty much not getting swinging strikes, not striking guys out. So definitely a pitch to contact guy that I'm not worried about this Yankees team getting to at all. Definitely going to be looking at Judge as my favorite play on the team at 4.7K. Excuse me, my phone isn't on silence. Judge is my favorite play, but like I said, you can pretty much go anywhere in this Yankees lineup. I mean, with a team total of 7.7, there's really no wrong answer on this team, but I think Judge will be far and away the highest owned and probably the best play on this team. Okay. Let's go ahead and move on to the next spot, and that's going to be the Red Sox against Carson Fulmer. I haven't looked into this weather yet, so take that with a grain of salt. As we can see, it's red on here on this on Fantasy Labs. It doesn't always mean it's going to be delayed or anything. Just definitely look into it. That said, Carson Fulmer, not a very good pitcher so far in his career. We're looking at his career numbers here, and this is over like 3 or 4 seasons in the majors, short stints in the majors over 3 or 4 years. XFIP's over 6 to both hands. Home run per 9 over 1.7 to both hands. Hard contact, not anything crazy, about around 30%. But he is a fly ball pitcher so far in the majors at 40% per on both hands. He's actually been a little bit improved in AAA this year, 4.6 XFIP, and he is getting a lot more Ks. That said, I'm gonna pretty much trust Vegas here with a 6.6 run total, which is his second highest on the slate. And I think that the Red Sox are in a very, very good spot today. I feel, these prices are definitely, it's nothing like we used to be getting with the Red Sox earlier in the year on DraftKings, where it's like the prices are way too low or anything. So, none of these guys are going to be must plays for me or anything like that, but I do think Mookie, who has better numbers than JD versus righties, obviously Benny hits righties very, very well. These top 3 outfielders are going to be the guys I'm going to be trying to get to, as I just think Devers, Bogarts, Holt, they're just kind of too expensive for cash games. If we see Jackie Bradley bat 6 with like Brock Holt out, he'd be interesting to me. He hit a home run last night. He's been hitting the ball pretty well since his early season slow start. I think he's worth that 4K price tag on this massive team total if we see him bat 6. Otherwise, seeing him bat 8th at home, not too interesting for me. So pretty much just the outfielders for the Red Sox are who I'm going to be targeting against Carson Fulmer and their 6.6 run total. Okay, so that's 2 spots. Trying to kind of get through these fast because there are so many of them. And even, while I'm down here, there's one spot I'm not going to talk about, and that's going to be this game right here. Max Fried versus Adbert Alzolay. Sorry, I haven't heard how they pronounce it on the broadcast yet. But Alzolay is a guy who gets a lot of strikeouts, has a lot of strikeout upside potential, but can give up some hard hit. Fried's a guy who doesn't pitch. He doesn't have a lot of strikeout upside. He's going to be pitching to a lot of contact. So I think that you can definitely target some of these Cubs on this slate. And I think the Braves with that team total with the wind blowing out in Wrigley, they're going to be in play as well versus Alzolay. But going to talk about some other more clear spots to me on this slate, and that's going to be one of them is going to be the Cleveland Indians. Coming in with a 5.9 run total, we're going to pull up Glenn Sparkman's numbers here, and I'm really going to be targeting the lefties here, and there are plenty of them in the Indians lineup as Sparkman. This season, 3.51 WOBA to lefties, 5.95 xFIP to lefties, hard contact of 48%, and a fly ball rate of 43%. And that's pretty consistent with the numbers going back to last year. Guy who just did not miss bats, gives up a lot of hard contact, really struggles with lefties. So I think Lindor is probably going to be one of your top shortstop plays on the day. He's been that multiple times this year, even at his high price. Going to be someone we're looking at pretty hard. Kipnis, guy who gets the ball in the air. Has really morphed into a fly ball hitter this year, and he's got some good contact. Joe Ram is priced up, so take that with a grain of salt, and he hasn't been hitting the ball well at all this year. Of course, if you have been paying attention to baseball all, you would know that he is one of the worst hitters in the one of the worst daily hitters in the league right now, to be honest. But this is a 1K at a position where you're probably going to be trying to save some money at second base. Kipnis may be able to do that for you there, although as you can see we have 3.6 per, so not sure where we're going to be there, but definitely going to be looking at these Indians lefties in cash games and in GPPs. Okay, well, another spot I want to talk about real quick, Walker Lockett, guy who was in AAA just a few weeks ago, made his first start last week, got absolutely mashed by the Cubs. We're looking at a 4.99 xFIP in AAA this year with a 3.28 K per 9, which is pretty ridiculous for a guy who is now in the majors. Don't see how this Philly team doesn't get to this guy. And this is a team where, we're looking at a team like the Indians where everyone's priced well above 4K. You've got some guys in the 5Ks. This is an Indians team that is still priced very, very fairly across the board. You've got Bryce Harper at 4.5K, Reese at 4.6, Jay Bruce at 4.4. You've got JT Realmuto still under 4K. You've got Gene Segura, although he is much, much better versus lefties. He's at 4K. We see Scott Kingery bat up. He's probably my least favorite, more of a GPP play, as he has been hitting the ball well, but he is probably a little too expensive for my liking in cash games. So just not a spot I'm maybe trying to spend up in. But I do think that Realmuto makes a lot of sense as your cash catcher. I think Bryce Harper at that price makes a ton of sense. Reese versus righty as a reverse splits hitter makes a lot of sense versus Walker Lockett. As you can see, it's going to be 78 degrees, 60% humidity, 63% humidity, already a hitter's park. Mets have a pretty bad bullpen backing up Walker Lockett, so really like a lot of these Phillies. They make a lot of sense. And I hope, I'm going through these pretty fast, but the last spot I wanted to talk about is the Padres coming into Camden Yards, another really good hitter's park, pretty good hitter condition, 79 degrees, 56% humidity. Going up against Josh Rogers, who is a lefty, will be the opener, and then you've got Jimmy Yacobonis coming in after him. So they really priced up a lot of these Padres, which is going to make them hard to get to. But let's go ahead and pull up Yacobonis' numbers. So he's got a pretty small sample this year. I don't remember how many innings he pitched last year. Yeah, so let's just pull up his career numbers real quick in the majors. You got a 6.41 xFIP to lefties, 5.46 xFIP to righties, over 40% fly ball on both hands, over 30% hard contact on both hands. These Padres are definitely going to be in play. I think because we're going to see like the Red Sox, we're going to see the Yankees, and the Indians go probably the highest owned teams in my opinion. I'm not completely sure on that, but I don't think a lot of people are going to be on these Padres where they are getting a 6.1 run total against a really, really bad pitcher and a not very good bullpen as well. So, I think Francisco, this catcher down here, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, 3.3K. He makes sense as the cheap catcher on the slate. Prospect, pretty good hitter. And then the top of the lineup is pretty much going to be GPP plays, as I said. Like Tatis has been priced up as the most expensive shortstop since he's been back from his injury, and it's like Lindor is going to be a better cash play than Tatis at 600 less. You've got Hosmer, he's a pretty solid play, that 4.5K price tag. It's really going to be the guys who were cheap run we're trying to get to here. Machado is priced up, Renfroe is priced up. Fran Mill is someone who I think you can play in cash games. Naylor is someone I can think you can play in cash games. Definitely going to have to see how this lineup comes out. Of course, Machado is questionable, as you can see there. So Will Myers could be boosted up in the lineup. He's batted in the top of the order for them in the past. So he'd make some sense coming up. But the two guys I'm really looking at, and I guess three guys I'd be looking at in cash games for these Padres who can save you a little bit of money, going to be Fran Mill, guy who gets the ball in the air. That's going to play really well in this park. Eric Hosmer, guy who contact hitter, has put a little bit more air under the ball this year. He's pretty cheap at first base at 4.5K, but it's pretty much going to be between him and Rhys Hoskins here at 4.6K for me, and even Luke Voigt right here at 4.8K. I mean, there are a lot of first base options, but you can definitely throw Hosmer into that mix, even as a cash game option for me. So those are some of the guys I like. I know this was a very long breakdown. I don't know how long exactly, but hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Let's go ahead and do these home run calls real quick. My first home run call is going to be Aaron Judge, 4.7K. Against Clayton Richard. You guys saw the crazy hard contact that he's been giving up. It just makes a lot of sense to me for him to be the expensive home run call of the day. And I've got a guy in mind for the low price home run call because his price is a little bit just off for me. But let me just scroll through real quick and make sure there's no one else that's standing out as a good home run call under 4K. Brewers in a good spot as well. There's so many good spots on this slate, guys. Even Astros with Trevor Williams, not a great spot, but that makes a little bit of sense to me as well. Okay. So, wow. Okay, so these Dodgers prices are really good. I'll give you guys two then. You got this is Robbie Ray always pitches a little better at home because the park plays really well for him. But I'll give Justin Turner one of my low price dongs, 3.9K. Even these Angels lefties versus Maley makes some sense. Otani, that price is really cheap. But Justin Turner, 3.9K, going up against Robbie Ray. He's fly ball hard contact